I almost screamed with joy. My big brother has gotten his hands on a copy of Pokemon Crystal. Then it hit me. How in the world did he get it? He explained to me that he met an odd boy on the street. He asked what it was, but when asked, he threw it at him and ran like a crazy guy. However, he handed me a poorly painted DS cartridge with Crystal hastily written on it. I laughed sarcastically, then remembered my brother was so caught up in studying he hadn't learned what the difference is between a DS and a Game Boy. I thanked him for the courtesy, my hopes falling. I told myself that I would give it back to that boy. Odds are, my brother just saw him on the sidewalk, but only after I saw what the game really was. I grabbed my DS Lite, shoved the game in, and turned it on, a little too eagerly. The DS menu did not show what I had hoped. The screen showed that a Game Boy card was inserted, not a DS game. Checking the bottom of my DS, the Game Boy slot was empty and a little dusty. Clicking on the Game Boy side, I noticed it said an odd title, Broken Crystal. Ignoring all the warnings, I continued. Instead of being greeted with the nostalgic crystal opening, I was presented with a faint, almost silent noise. When I turned the volume all the way up, I could pick up the faint sound of static, releasing my ear from the speaker. I waited another minute before I was met with the game selection screen. I pressed continue. My DS power turned red and shut off. Not knowing if this was a coincidence or not, I plugged it in and repeated the whole white screen cycle. I was met with the same selection screen. I pressed continue, and it turned off again. I did this a few more times before pressing new game. As a black screen appeared, the static came back, but louder. I was in a frenzy and didn't think about turning the volume back down. My heart pounding out of my chest, I picked it up after the static dimmed down. This seems more like a cruel joke. Staring at the screen, I was obviously in a dark cave. I checked my Pokemon and saw I only had an Eevee that was holding an item. I ignored it because I didn't like Eevees much anyway. Checking back in the cave, I saw a purple-colored Pokeball. I moved my female character toward to pick up the odd object, and then a text box appeared. It looks dangerous. Pick it up? Of course I did. It was an item. I'm not passing this up. The screen faded out, and back in to reveal a hand holding a small purple object. The item get music played as a message box appeared. Got Crystal Shard. Bewildered, I sat there. When the screen faded back in, it flashed red for a second like in the poison screen, and then another message popped up. Crystal Shard, cut your hand. Confused and scared, I checked the menu. Instead of the normal selections at the top of the Pokédex, it said Health. Reluctantly, I jabbed the A button, and there was a screen of the character's face. It looked so happy and innocent, closing out every 30 steps. The screen flashes red. I saw the sprite of a Pokemon ahead, without getting near it. It started a battle, showing a sleeping Furret. I sent out Eevee, and it only had one move, and that move was Steel, so I had no choice but to use it. Got Crystal Shard. The battle ended instantly, fading out to the screen. I noticed that I was getting cut more frequently. I think about every 20 steps. I checked the health. She had an enduring smile with a few cuts on her face. Her hair was a little unkempt and her pupils were smaller. Going back, and lost in the cave, I picked up 5 more shards. By the time I was at the end of the cave, her hair had missing patches. Her left cheek had flesh missing from it. I swear I could see some bone. Her pupils were so small that for a minute I couldn't see them. Her smile was replaced with a clenched jaw and broken teeth. Every step I took, a text box popped up. Where am I? Why did I touch that shard? I'm done for. Finally, something happened. You fainted. Her sprite was laying down like the old man of Viridian City. There were pixels of purple on it, and then I noticed something. She was breathing, shaking. I pressed a button and more text boxes appeared. You're too tired and can't move. Will you ask for Eevee's help? Yes! Why was I still playing this stupid game? The Eevee came out of its Pokeball, and for a minute I felt hope, seeing how strong that Eevee looked. I thought she could help. Instead, the screen faded out. It was replaced with Eevee's face crying. Her face was cut up too, and her ears were shredded. Around her neck were 2 crystal shards. I yelled at myself. I knew she had an item, but I didn't take it. Her sprite also fell, and the screen faded out to black. You know better that Eevee was your partner for years. You knew that those shards were evil. You knew that you picked them up. You can't take the curse off. No, stop! I yelled at the screen, with tears flooding down my face as time seemed to fall. Now you are gone. I was unable to catch my breath. Your partner is dead. My breathing rapidly rose, and it was all because of the shards that I warned you about. I started losing consciousness. Goodbye. The screen showed a faint image of her laying there crying like I was with 5 purple shards on my dress, and then I faded out of reality. Wake up! That was my mother. Will she be okay? I opened my eyes. It was all just a dream, I thought. I sat up and felt something around my neck. It was a necklace. I picked it off my neck, and I saw 5 purple shards that had the properties of a crystal.